Jada Fire, thank you for bringing your group to Willka T'ika and welcome.
Thank you.
Can you please tell me about your offering creative, artistic and spiritual talents to your group while you were here?
The week was bountiful with lots of gifts, naturally from the garden, inspiring the creative minds of our group, individually and then as a whole. We had the opportunity to dabble in lots of different creative mediums. The yoga, of course, was one component, but I think for most of us, what was really most enriching was this experience of communing with nature and the gardens. And in that way, we got to dabble in artistic expression, using creativity as medicine in the sacral garden, right? And where the water was flowing and we were accompanied with the beautiful sounds of the Andean flute by the lovely Marias. And everything was silent that one day, and for hours we were working with clay and watercolor paints and just different compositional ways, elements such as leaves and dirt and such come onto paper to create art, and what is art in that moment, not permanent, but for the time being here. Actually, lots of our creativity in the objects and the creations that we compile just in that spontaneous way were given to different gardens at the end. So it was sort of like a circle of time in that way of creation.
So what would you say were your most special moments in working with a group here out of all the wonderful talents you described?
That's tricky to pick one. What comes to mind first is not something that I was able to lead but participate in, the offering, the fire ceremony, how we communed in the space of the throat chakra garden, that ritual, and then coming out later to the fire and being a part of that release and offering to the gods. So that was very powerful. Aside from that, I think most of the magic that we all experienced here was being barefoot and wandering the paths of the gardens. And, you know, some of us spent a little bit of time rolling our bodies on the grass like the Incan serpents in the root chakra garden. And just ensuring that strong sense of grounding. A lot of us were very drawn to that garden. And just making those offerings that I need, putting different crystals or strands of hair or tears or our own way of giving back to the gardens was a beautiful piece of the whole journey.
So do you believe that there's a lot more that you could be doing here in the gardens in future?
Oh, yes. I think that just touching and dabbling into that playfulness with the art journey specifically that we had that day and the music that was a part of it just gives us a chance to see, wow, there's so much of this untapped creativity. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when you give yourself that permission in a retreat, for instance, we really have given ourselves that permission to play and use play and work with play as the teacher. And tapping into that creative source of medicine, I think it's endless what could be done here.
And did you do formal yoga in the studios, or did you bring the yoga as you've described in some of the gardens?
We did some movement in this particular Crown Chakra Garden, some circus play, some hand building, body balancing, and not so much a structured class, but a lot of frolicking went on in this particular garden, and a lot of deep breathing and meditative work in some of the others. And for the most part, since we met so early in the morning and it was a little chilly, being winter here, we had the heaters on and did a nice expressive yoga practice every morning before breakfast and then again before dinner. So just to inspire the appetite for the magnificent food that is served here.
Well, I want to thank you deeply for coming to Willka T'ika, and we look forward to you coming and doing this kind of program And to thank you for the beautiful sculpted snake. I was looking for a snake to put in the Pachamama's garden.
Oh, please do.
And I think it's got a home over there, and may you continue to do such wonderful creative work. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Pachamama.
Thank you, Pachamama.